Bye-bye, Jerry Springer. Is he going to get dropped from NBC, our third biggest fundamental call in the past 2 years? Our SunPower bottom call? GE earnings, what can you expect? Of course, that fundamental assessment of Jerry Springer, game plan and Forex, as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick. This is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. We have something very interesting to talk about today. And one of those things are going to be Jerry Springer. Oh my goodness, Mark, where is this going? But before we get there, I'm going to talk about a couple trades. And there was a good trade I did today that lost money, I felt. And I'm going to go over that too. See, I don't always just show my P&L for my winners or just talk about, how easy things are. The bottom line is I try to offer transparency, whether I win or lose, and I'll definitely be phenomenally consistent behind my trades, and that's how I do become successful as a trader. But I want to talk about certain trades. Let's start off with Philip Morris today. So what happened in Philip Morris is you could see the cigarette company just got smoked. I guess I would say pun intended. Got absolutely smoked. And what I did today is I took a very small $500 lotto when it was plummeting here this morning through descending support, only to end up losing a few $100 as it went lower. So what I did in this case was this is really the beautiful thing about options. So the stock was trading about 89 or high 88s and change. And I went ahead and I took 5 options at $1. They were $90 calls, and I was thinking, if Philip Morris can maybe, bounce here, because it was down massively, if it could even bounce a quarter of the way up, these calls will explode through the ceiling, and I'll make a few bucks. But no matter what, even if the stock kept going down, the most I was going to lose was $500 on the trade. And this really comes to the good risk reward with options. And we are talking a little bit more about swing trades today. So Philip Morris for me definitely wasn't a swing, but there is a swing trade I have today. And that is, of course, is the SunPower bottom today in the market. So what do I mean by the SunPower bottom? Well, I mean I bought the May $10 calls at 50 cents, and the day low of that was 50 cents. So when the stock was playing around in the $9.20 range, I went ahead and I took May calls. I rode it all the way through day highs. I sold 2/3 of my position. The stock came back. I held, and then it came right back to highs again. Of just a wonderful formation here in SunPower. So I am holding 1/3 of my options, and every so often I come out with something that's a little more bold, a little heavier than normal. It's basically the third call that I'm making in the past couple years. But you're going to have to hear me talk about General Electric first before we get to that and what I'm looking for. Here's the bottom line. So on General Electric, last time they reported, it initiated with gapping up, and I was involved in a number of calls. I had hundreds of calls, and it looked like it was working. I was like, wow, this is going to be an awesome trade. Numbers look good, beat Wall Street, everything beat expectations. And then they said, oh, by the way, there's also an SEC investigation into us. And then all the earnings dropped. And I ended up actually losing money on that General Electric trade. They are reporting tomorrow. Regardless if they gap this up or not, I think you're looking at SEC headline risk. People are going to want to know, is the SEC investigation resolved? How much damage can it do to the company? What's going on with it? Those are going to be big questions tomorrow for General Electric earnings. However, just based on the numbers alone, I am actually going to be bullish. And I will be looking to trade General Electric tomorrow, regardless if it gaps up or down, regardless if the market gaps up or down. And I will be looking to trade GE. Now, we have a lot of interesting due diligence here inside the markets and in general. So I'm actually coming to you asking for a solution. Now, I'm going to share with you the first two things we did, and now I'm going to share with you the third. The last two things we did was in November of 2017 when Stitch Fix IPO'd. That was on November 17th, 2017, that IPO'd right there. And we put a $30 target on it. And we put it actually on that day, pre-market, before it actually opened. And look, it actually hit $30 and then $30.07 before falling lower. There was another stock that IPO'd that day that we put a $30 target on. And that, of course, is Sale. One of my most massive positions, as you guys already know. And I also put a $30 target on Sale. This one actually hasn't hit $30 yet, but you're putting in this beautiful triangle wedge. Check that out. I have no doubt that a company like this can potentially crush on earnings, and I actually see it going over 30. Of course, if you guys are in my room, you know this is my favorite stock of 2018. So that was actually that was the second out of the three calls. The other big call we made was, of course, on Whole Food Market, and we were talking about it for a while. That Amazon, you can't type in WFM anymore. That Amazon was actually going to buy Whole Foods Market, and that was another major call we had months ahead because we found it strategic to Amazon growing and keeping up the growth rate is to actually start selling produce, fresh produce, in particular vegetables, milk, eggs, things that people wouldn't generally buy online. You'll buy your favorite snacks online, you'll buy a lot of different things online when it comes to food, but rarely do people want to buy vegetables. Why? Because there's something about buying vegetables that you want to take it, hold it in your hand, give it a little squeeze, maybe you give it the old sniff test. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to fresh produce. So that was another really big call that we made. There was another call I made saying that that Walmart should buy Sprouts Farmers Market, and that actually did not happen. However, we made that call after this stock got Amazoned, and we basically called Sprouts for a takeout target. I thought Walmart would have been the best one to take them out, and that's a call that actually didn't come through. However, the stock is still paying you as if it is. So, nonetheless, solid idea, stock still goes higher. Now, I share with you my next idea, ladies and gentlemen. Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer. Everybody knows who he is. He's the guy who likes to, crazy, wacky stories. Hi, I'm your daughter, and why is my mother sleeping with my boyfriend, and why is my boyfriend sleeping with my father, and why is my father lying to me about it? That's a typical Jerry Springer story, and believe me, that is not even the most disgusting stories that Jerry Springer has shown. It's shock value, and it has really taken America sort of by storm here. It really is taking America by storm at the time, if you remember. There's some people who were talking about Jerry Springer even running for president because he was just such a great shock jock, if you will, or such a great, TV host of shock value. So we did a little digging. We did a little digging into Jerry Springer, and we did a little digging and digging and digging. Here is my prediction. NBC is going to throw away Jerry Springer. That's the bombshell. NBC is going to throw away Jerry Springer. I don't think you're going to see it in the news tomorrow or next week or next month. But pretty much, Jerry Springer is still around. Yes, he is. Jerry Springer is going to be released. And if you look at NBC Studios, and you look online, you can see that Jerry Springer goes all the way up to the publicly traded company. You guys know the publicly traded company? You want to guess before I show you? Comcast, yes. Very good, Ken. So it actually comes to Comcast. Now, why am I predicting this? How can we capitalize off this? So now we have a much more interesting conversation here. That's where I'm coming to you guys for ideas. I'm challenging the person with the best ideas to come to me. In return, when I have my next biggest idea, um, we will talk about, I don't know, we'll talk about some reward or something. I don't know what it is. I mean, can I legally give you cash? I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Um, I feel this is going to happen because nobody wants to advertise on Jerry Springer anymore. Now you might say, why? Look at the political climate. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't need this. You're sleeping with him, who's sleeping with her, who's doing drugs with him, who's doing crimes with him, who's beating up her, who is the father? I don't know. There were 37 men. Oh my God, she's only 16. How are there 37 men? People don't like that garbage anymore when it comes to being an advertiser. Nobody wants that anymore when it comes to being an advertiser because nobody wants to associate themselves. Look at this. Look at what's happening in today's media. You have a television host from various broadcast stations, and people are calling for boycotts of advertisers. Advertisers are pulling out. Advertisers are going in. Do you think any of these Jerry Springer no longer works in today's political climate? As a result, I am putting a 99% chance, 99% chance that Jerry Springer gets dropped by NBC before the end of the year. Now, granted, I get it. Well, Mark, the end of the year is 8 months. Well, I'm putting a time target on it. I would say 99% Jerry Springer is going to be dropped. I'm not saying nobody picks him up. I'm not saying some crappy television station wants to pick up Jerry Springer. But the question is this. I don't need an answer today. My analysis shows that he's gone. Comcast is done with him. He's done. How does this affect Comcast? Because Comcast might have other scheduling. Maybe it'll help Comcast. Advertisers are not going to want to pay for Jerry Springer. Look at Jerry Springer. Look at the advertisers that go through him. They're gone. Where were all those advertisers who loved advertising on Jerry Springer? Now on Jerry Springer, you get that, are you getting divorced? Do you need a divorce attorney? Or did you take this drug in the past 12 years? If you did, call this law firm today. Like, that's the type of garbage you have on Jerry Springer commercials. These are people who are paying, those are what we call the low-end commercials, the garbage commercials, the local commercials. Like you see a different commercial depending on where you are, because there is not a lot of big interest in advertising big companies through Jerry Springer anymore. And I think it's going to continue to drop. So I ask you this. I challenge you to think about this. This is more fundamental thoughts here. Can we take advantage of this in a trade? What is the trade here? We know Comcast owns NBC. We know NBC owns the rights to Jerry Springer. Is that good for Comcast or is that bad for Comcast? I want you guys to try to figure out, if I told you there's a 99% chance, and Jerry Springer's a big name. We're not talking about, when it came to ratings, it was one of the highest generated rating shows ever. Right? Well, if you didn't know, believe me, it's right. It was up there as one of the most highly rated shows ever. So with that being said, I challenge you with that information to say, if I'm right, and who knows, right? If I'm right, what would be the trade? Spell it out. Spell out the trade. Don't tell me buy puts. Don't tell me buy calls. Tell me the strike and expiration. Tell me your fundamental analysis behind it. I want to see how you guys think of it, because the truth is, I haven't even thought that deep yet, and I'm still formulating thoughts. So I don't know if there is a trade here at all. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But one of the highest rated shows of all time should be dropped by Comcast, and that is my prediction. Okay? And my prediction is it happens prior to 2019. So with that being said, let's go back here. We're going to go ahead and share our game plan in Forex. We had some really nice Forex calls recently, and a lot of you guys showed a lot of support for it. But let's go ahead and share what's on our game plan. And I'm going to go, of course, to GLNG. That's Golar LNG, liquefied natural gas, as we did have a really... it was kind of weird in UNG today. They popped it up and then they pulled it down. So you could even see the U.S. natural gas ETF, which is like really a garbage type ETF that does forward futures on natural gas, and they just know how to lose money consistently is what this ETF does. It's a bleeder. And, it looks like UNG, not much happened here today. But when you look at Golar LNG, you see that you have this massive pop-up today. Now on GLNG, why is it popping? Well, they had a preliminary pact in HOT for a charter agreement. What's a HOT? It's a heads of term for a charter agreement with BP Mauritania Investments and BP Senegal Investments in their capacity as block operators. The heads of term represents a commitment between these parties to translate the key commercial terms into a full agreement and proceed with front-end engineering design on the provision of an FLNG vessel, which is like it's basically a boat that carries LNG, liquefied natural gas, to support the development of a Phase 1A field located offshore. So what they're basically doing is they're working with another company to actually design a vessel that transports liquefied natural gas. Sounds kind of hot, no pun intended, because that would probably blow up the entire operation. Nonetheless, this is a very big agreement for GLNG. The stock was able to exude phenomenal relative strength today. I'm looking for a simple follow-through from today's high, $31.55. So that's GLNG, Gary, Larry, Nancy, Gary, bullish trigger, $31.55. You guys want my new Forex trade? Sure. I actually got filled on one of them today. That's the level above the gray line. Please just end up ignoring the gray line completely and what's above the gray line, because that was obviously yesterday's order. I got filled. Here are the 4 new orders. They're all buy orders. You have all my size here. You have the symbols I'm watching. You have the price I'm putting in. You have my stop loss level, and you have my take profit level. Please understand that this is for educational purposes only and entertainment purposes only. So I hope you enjoy watching them and do with them as you please beyond that. So with that being said, let's see. Yeah, we're just gonna go right into our full stock analysis, and of course that is for Newsbeat Live members only. I hope you guys enjoyed our assessment. If you are interested in emailing me your thoughts on what kind of trade is there a Jerry Springer trade, and you could email me at mark.melnick@t3live.com. I will welcome any one of your ideas and strategies. If this does happen, I'm going to go back and look at this trade or whatever trade that you guys proposed, and we'll have a prize for the winner. I'm not sure what it is. I don't want to promise anything. I have to talk to T3, but we'll do something nice for you guys. For whoever had the best trading idea, and if some of you guys have the same ideas, you guys will all get prizes of some sort. Maybe gift cards can we do, or cash? I don't know. We'll figure something out. But nonetheless, Again, our full stock analysis is for members only. I hope you guys enjoyed the Newsbeat show. We are the fastest growing trading room in the nation. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys next time on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.